everyone. My name is Melina Graham. We are here to talk about this very uncertain time that is the pandemic that we're in at the moment, also known as COVID-19. And so just coming from my perspective and some questions that those in my age group, just to let you know, I'm 22. So what we would kind of be wanting to know about from a clinical perspective or from someone who works in social field, or even especially from a doctor and youth concerned times. So this is more pointed towards you, Carmen Graham. So you talk in your line of work, what kind of marks like people's lives are milestones or, developmental stages and things like that. For almost all of us, I think this year we were all supposed to hit certain milestones. And I guess you could almost call it FOMO, fear of missing out. How do we go about, being okay with not hitting these certain milestones? If you're like me, who was supposed to start my master's in the fall, and that's now up in the air, or, high school and, college seniors who are graduating, and then college seniors getting a job, or people moving into new jobs and things like that. How do we go about not just being okay with missing out on those milestones, but maybe in a way creating new ones? How do we go about doing that?
So that's a really interesting theme, because I think that's a significant thing, just not even for your age group, for younger, from nursery, for primary school, which would be, for your for USA would be, high school as well. It would be those who are going into internships. And it's almost a loss, isn't it? It's a loss of feeling, what did you have that you would have had? So if you're graduating, possibility of going into a new job, the possibility of going and doing further studies. And for many young people that I've talked to, they've really felt shocked by this. It's almost like a shock to a numb feeling. And when we've talked about what kind of things could they do to make themselves feel more alive, to make themselves feel that they've got hope again, is to almost reinvent new goals, look at new ways of doing things. So if it was that they were thinking, okay, in September, October, they would be starting a new course and it'd be very, very different, or they'll be starting a new job, it's thinking, okay, what's a plan B? What will that look like? Will it be very different? Can I start my course online rather than face to face? So it's changing that perspective. It's changing the way you're thinking, and not necessarily just accepting, but thinking, okay, I've accepted, but I'm going to do something to change it, to change the way I'm thinking and accept the new thing that's going to happen. For other people, I know they were going to travel abroad for a year. So it's thinking, okay, if I couldn't travel abroad for a year, how can I think about what can I do in the next 6 months to build my skills, so then in 6 months' time, maybe I can travel abroad, or maybe I can reduce the amount of times that I travel abroad. So it's almost creating a new thing, but visualizing it in a different way.
How do we go about pacing ourselves? Those of us who have online work that has moved online, and especially we don't have that division anymore between work and home, because everything's together, or school and home, or school's kind of out now, at least in the US. I don't know about over there in the UK. How do we just go about, pacing ourselves in that format, in the format that we're in now?
I think that's a really important question. I think a lot of people, whether you're university students or your parents working from home, or your younger children who are engaged in schoolwork online during the day, I think a lot of people are struggling with this issue. And I think a really important thing is, and it may sound really obvious, is to develop a daily routine. I think daily routines and structure for the day is really key to well-being. What it gives us is, if we have a structure to the day, it gives us a sense of when we will have breaks, tasks we have to do, and at the end of the day, we're able to look back over a day and to be able to count all the things we have been able to accomplish. We have a sense of actually that a number of tasks have gotten done, but we've also had time for self-care. If we just allow a day to the whole day to fuse into one, at the end of a day, it feels as if we're not very clear about what we've accomplished and what we've done for that day. And so each day feels similar to the next day, And so what it can develop within people is a sense of kind of pointlessness, monotonousness, and that there is no point to life, and can really quite quickly spiral down into a sense of hopelessness and despair. And so one of the things as a clinical psychologist we'd really encourage people to do is to develop a daily kind of schedule, almost like a routine, a fixed time to wake up each day, a fixed time when we're going to bed, which is a reasonable time to allow us to get good rest and sleep. We would then encourage splitting the day into portions, segments. Halfway through the day, what time would be meal times, for example, and definitely taking a break during those times. We would then be looking at ensuring that, you know, tasks that we've got to do are scheduled into the day. So actually scheduling them into the day, almost like a weekly timetable. And then ensuring within each day, this is very important, that we schedule some time for a pleasant activity, something that gives us a sense of meaning and purpose. It may be going for a walk, going for a run, cooking a nice meal, talking with a friend, listening to some uplifting music. So it could be taking a nice bath, something that gives us a sense of my time, a time where I can feel that I'm looking after myself. So all of those things are really important within a day. That idea of structure, so that at the end of the day I can say, okay, I've achieved these tasks, I've done something nice for myself, and I remember what Monday or whatever day of the week it was about.
Just spearhead of what Herman said, for young people, especially the young people that I work with, a lot of times they're spending a lot of time on social media, and it will start from the beginning of the day. They'll go through to, they're doing their online lessons or they're working, and they're just typing, and then message will come up and they'll go on their social media, and it may go on to various social medias. They start off with one social media, then it'll go on to another, then it'll go on to another, and that will go throughout the whole day. And then when you calculate the amount of hours that they've spent on social media, it is a significant amount. And then what they're finding is that they're comparing themselves on social media, and that impacts on their emotional well-being. So I think it's really important with routines, because routines allow you to know what you need to do for a particular period of the day. So if it means you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to block half an hour for the whole day just on social media, because this is going to really ring fence my emotional well-being. And that's just for, it's not just for one person, that's for the whole family. So then everybody then has time to spend together, because when you look on social media, you're viewing other people's lives, not necessarily your life. So it's a continual comparison that then impacts your emotional being, it impacts how you see yourself. And in this time when we're locked in, young people are much more vulnerable. And I found when having conversations with carers that I work with and with the young people, they're struggling because they cannot separate themselves from social media and then continue to be involved in the family. So what I say is, keep the structure going in the family, limit your social media time. And as Herman said, try and do an activity that will help build your own self-esteem, build something that is away from social media. Maybe have a social media holiday, I don't know, but try and do something that will allow you to start building on yourself. Use this opportunity as a way of developing yourself, of thriving, of thinking, actually, I'm going to do something successful for myself. It's my own goal, rather than comparing myself on another thing where you might see somebody doing, I don't know, weights, or you might see someone having a six-pack on YouTube, or whatever the social media is. Then you realize, actually, it was just that they were shading their bodies in a different way. I don't know, the lighting was very different. But it's about being real with yourself.
Yeah, I want to just add a little basic science to that, because the platform of social media, especially the biggest ones right now, they have divulged the information that initially they based their models on the dopamine hit. What does that mean? There's a part in our brain that gets really excited with very pleasurable things, like food or very sweet things or sexual activity, multiple pleasurable things, and the brain lights up in those areas. And this has been used as almost like a brain hack. What do I mean by that? Because they were aware, and they're knowledgeable of the fact that if we have lots of thumbs up, it doesn't do us much for wanting to come back and repetitively come back, with almost like an addictive behavior. And so that's why we get thumbs down, and that's why we say to ourselves, okay, well, maybe I need to look later on. And that cycle of playing with our emotion, that creates the dopamine hit that then wants us to continually look back. So we can stop this game that's been played on our brains by limiting, as Carmen mentioned, our time, because most of the time this information is placed there for us to want to come back, and many times it's gated, meaning that a lot of the responses, which are thumbs up and a thumbs down, are actually studied and brought to our attention at a specific time so that it can have the impact for us to want to continue. So we're being manipulated, and we should be, as parents and also as caregivers and healthcare workers, be knowledgeable of this so that we can let our loved ones know, and even ourselves be aware of the fact that we need to be in control of these things.